Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good evening. Welcome to being here, whatever time zone you are tuning in from.
So today,
Yes.
you can be Ariel.
Okay, and you can be Shia?
Okay, that's the way it is. That's
Question.
today. Yes,
Feeling inspired?
absolutely.
Awesome. What's leading to that?
I had an interesting evening.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the middle of the night, I realized something that has eluded me.
Tell me.
It was being bold, being boldly you, realizing that transformation is a phenomena that is beyond words. It is really a shifting in your ability to experience living. And it's something worth being excited about and sharing with others, because in a realm or a paradigm of change, transformation does not exist. All there is struggle, effort, and no reward, even if you're rewarded, because no reward is enough for your mind to feel well. But you can't be if you get into the current moment of your life. And that people are afraid to share that with other people, as if they're not the expert on this thing called transformation. Maybe Shia or Ariel is, but they're not. Well, it's the other way around.
Well, I remember when I discovered that early in our career, when we were leading seminars together, and there came to be the Freedom to Breathe, which was at that time solely mine. But I expected you to come with me to the seminar. And when I got ready to go, you said, no, you're going and you're leading this on your own. And I was
nasty man.
I at that point really underestimated my abilities.
Yeah, well, that's when you got thrown in the deep end of the pool.
You betcha.
And you discovered that you're an excellent swimmer.
What was really fun about that was not only was I capable, I found myself articulating myself in ways that I would normally assign to you. So when I listen to you, like at the start of this podcast, I find myself deeply inspired. I find you very inspiring. Listening can infuse me with inspiration. But I hadn't listened to myself as I was expressing things.
See, that's the problem for most people who've taken our seminars. They don't think they're an expert in their own life, and they are.
And I imagine for people who've not even attended our seminars but are listening, I know some of you out there have listened every week, and you don't come to seminars, the Living Made Easy, even the 2-hour ones, not because you're not interested, but because you're afraid you have nothing to offer. Or if you come, you'll have to reveal some big, dark secret of yours. And there really aren't any big, deep, dark secrets as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
So how about we take our first guest, or did you have more to say?
Well, I want to talk about listening, but we'll do that with our first guest.
Why not? Dave, welcome to being here. Where are you zooming in from?
I am zooming in from Brooklyn, New York.
Excellent.
Is it okay for you to be enthusiastically alive in your Zoom?
It is. It is very okay.
Even though we're doing this as an audio.
Yeah, no, that's great. I am feeling that way just listening to you guys in the first couple of minutes. So
Good.
Yes.
Well, yes.
Please.
Well, you said listening to us, so I was going to go into listening as a...
well, you guys can do it together. I'll listen to you.
Okay, perfect. Listening is the access way to the moment, you see. If you use your eyes and your ears, and if you're listening to this, just use your ears, it will pull you into the current moment if you don't get lost in your thoughts about what's being said. Because your thoughts about what's being said pull you out of the current moment. When you actually just allow what's being said to come into you, it allows you to be, because you're no longer commenting on you in your thoughts. And that's where transformation takes place. In that
I have discovered that to be true. And in listening to you, I realize how that dovetails for me on the subject of feeling inspired, because when I listen and I let go of what I was thinking about or my agenda or what I want to maybe get out of the conversation, possibilities open up. I hear things.
Or what you already know that you think applies.
Yes.
What do you mean?
Yes.
If you think you already know about enlightenment, you'll
He's not
say,
saying you in particular, Dave.
the listener.
The larger.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
If you think you already know about enlightenment or transformation, then as we say things, you go, oh, I know that. And in the, oh, I know that, you know what you know, but you don't know what we're talking about.
That's so funny. I got the weirdest images. You guys are talking about this. Oh, I know that. I got a picture of somebody holding up, oh, these are socks, and then putting them in the sock drawer, not ever intending to wear them. But it's like, oh, this is enlightenment. Oh, that goes in the enlightenment. Oh, this is the listening, goes into the listening drawer. So you don't actually hear anything. You just file it away with what you know that seems similar.
That seems similar. Exactly.
Right. Right. I would say that the act of listening is in and of itself very inspiring. Just the ability to put away whatever it is I was, thinking about or stressed about or that's preoccupying me. Putting that aside allows me, and listening really, I think, opens a passageway for inspiration for me. Like, I feel very inspired just having this conversation, and I didn't know what we were going to talk about.
Well, neither did I, to tell you the truth.
I want to talk about you for a moment, because we were speaking, I don't know, maybe last week. Via Zoom, we were just having a chat, the three of us, and I know your wife and your kids came through periodically, and you were talking about a couple of writing projects that you have, and you were very excited about one you had just conceived of and what you wanted to do with it. And I found myself captivated by your ideas. And
Wow.
also found that I had to catch up to speed with where you were, because on some level, it's like, oh, really? You can do this quickly? Maybe you should slow down a little, like wanting to slow down your enthusiasm. And I had to pay attention not to thwart your passion. And I found that really exciting, because it's rare in my experience that somebody's passion in the moment seems to outstrip mine.
That's very cool. Thank you. And thank you for saying that. I have found this. I'm not going to talk about the subject because it's not really ripe for discussing, but it's something transformation related and something we've talked about many times. And I've been writing about something unrelated lately about my work. And it's interesting to me how the act of writing has opened up ideas and creativity and inspiration. And then this came to me, and it's like you guys talk about, it didn't require work. It didn't require me to effort. It just came almost full blown. I'm getting more ideas and producing an outline, but the basic idea and where I want to go with it was just showed up. And I feel like I'm sort of following along. Yeah, which is very cool. And I wish I could say where that came from, but I don't know. But I'm still very excited about it.
Well, that's very similar to what happened to me during the middle of the night, because I was wondering why people get lost. And see, here's the thing. When we first met, you were absolutely blown away by how we interacted with life.
Yes.
Me, as in
Ariel and I.
Chaya.
Right.
Yes.
And she said, how do you do this?
How do you see
these things? And it wasn't that we said, stick around, you'll start seeing that way. But what I'm saying is, initially, the way we are can affect people's minds, so the mind just can't handle what we're representing, so they fall into a state of well-being that's sort of, they fall into it rather than are directed into it. It's just being around us, they fall into the state of well-being, but the mind compensates. See, the mind compensates for this out of controlness that happens when you fall into the moment.
Right.
And when you, so then pretty soon we start to talk about listening. Your mind, which is a supercomputer, goes, listening. Oh, I know all about this. So you're no longer listening.
Right.
Et cetera, et cetera. And eventually you fall back to where you were before you even started looking at your life. Unless you consciously re-engage in the moment and realize there's a separation between you and your thought processes, that you're not your thoughts. So if your thought says, I feel depressed, well, that's an interesting thought, but it's only a thought. And then you manifest physical aspects of depression to fill in what your thought tells you. So it's a generated experience of life rather than a direct experience in the moment. Well, what keeps you in the moment, if you will, is sharing that transformation is a possibility, that it's an alternate reality that exists simultaneous to the reality of change, but it needs to be propped up because there is, it's like walking down the street and you're an alcoholic and every shop on the street is a bar. It's going to re-engage you in change because transformation doesn't exist in the reality of change. So you have people who are immensely successful in their lives that feel empty because, yeah, I did that, but now what? It's never enough to satisfy the mind.
Yeah, you said I would listen to all of that. And then when you stopped, what I was thinking, which came up for me, came back, which is you said something about how people have thoughts and they don't realize that they are, you said something to this effect, they are not their thoughts. Their thoughts are just things that happen in their head and you can follow along or not, which is not a way I've ever thought about it before, but that's my reinterpretation of what you said. Okay. And going back to the theme of the show, I really feel like for me, that is a killer of inspiration. When I follow thoughts, particularly negative ones, which many of my thoughts are, I go down, if I'm inspired to do something and then I start thinking, well, I can't, or I don't have the time, or I can't afford it, or I'm not good enough, or I don't have the expertise, or blah, 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 then my inspiration dies. And if I just can hear those like they're a radio station in the background, then the inspiration can
but if
continue.
You use those thoughts, Dave, then they own you.
Yes.
A negative thought is nothing other than a thought until you say it's negative and be positive. So now you're it's an adversarial relationship to that thought, which will keep it locked in place. There's no complete. There's no completion, there's no satisfaction, there's no well-being, there's no experience of love. All that stuff goes out the window when you become right about your position in the universe, that's wrong and you're right.
I have never heard you articulate it as having an adversarial relationship with one of your thoughts. That is so brilliant.
But we haven't had a conversation with Dave lately. See, when I have a conversation with Dave, his brilliance illuminates
how information. You see,
I don't speak this way with everybody, Dave. With you in this moment. I
appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, I'm sure there'll be other moments where we'll have conversations that won't be so profound. But the reality is, as soon as you disagree with anything, you're stuck to it. I remember once we were having a videographer make some videos of us. This goes back 30 years or better. And she said to one of the participants that she was interviewing, Shy is a real
Jerk. That it was a pejorative word. It was something different than jerk. Don't
Right.
you agree?
And the guy disagreed vehemently with her, but he disappeared after that. Because those negative things that you disagree with work on you.
Yeah.
That's so interesting you say that. I had an experience like that recently. I've been having some shoulder pain. And so I had shoulder surgery years ago. So I went back to the surgeon that I saw years ago and I had an appointment with him. And at one point, he asked me what I was doing. And one of the things I do is I do mixed martial arts. And he asked me, do you punch a heavy bag? I said, well, sometimes. He said, well, you shouldn't do that. You should do a lighter stuff. And then he said, also, no offense, but you don't really have a lot of muscle around your shoulders. And, that's probably doing it too. And I was like, what? So for those of you who haven't seen me, I'm an average guy. I'm not big. I'm not small. I'm a pretty average sized guy. I don't think anybody looks at me and says, wow, what tiny shoulders that guy has. I told my wife this. I said, he really got me. Like I've been thinking about all week how small my shoulders are and how I need to build up muscle and all this other stuff got in my head.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. Other things are going to happen that are going to supersede those thoughts, and eventually they'll leave you alone.
They mostly have. I was just reminded of it by this conversation, how a little bit of that poison got in and I couldn't stop thinking about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. See, the third principle of instantaneous transformation is anything you see without judging, just see it as it is, completes itself in the moment you see it. But if you have a judgment about it, especially a negative judgment, because you can have positive judgments too, like, isn't she beautiful, is a positive judgment. Or I love that color red, positive judgment. But when you resist something, even in your thoughts, that's enough to keep it locked in place so it doesn't go away. First principle, anything you resist, disagree with, judge, sticks around.
As you're talking, I realized that one of the sources of, like the slow leak in my balloon of inspiration does happen when I say no to something I know I'm going to do anyway or is not changeable. So,
for instance,
I ended a relationship with a vendor who was also a close friend of mine that we'd had for
several years,
many years. And so I recognized that by saying we're not going to use you as a vendor anymore, it would likely radically change the complexion of our day-to-day relationship. Now, the truth is it had radically changed anyway, but there's some part of me that was just saying, no, I don't want to. And when I get stuck in that loop of I don't wanna about what I know I'm going to do anyway, there's really no room for inspiration because all I'm doing is being hard on myself as if what I'm about to do is changeable somehow.
Well, it is changeable. You could do what you don't want to do, and then you'll have the same no show up just in a different venue. See, it won't be about not using this vendor. It'll be about going shopping.
Yeah, something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Second principle, your life shows up exactly as it's showing up in the current moment, and it cannot be different, even though you have thoughts that it could. So you can either celebrate this moment because it's perfect as it is. You've had a lifetime to get it here. So it took a whole lifetime to get to this moment. You realize that?
I like that.
And in this moment, it is all perfect. And there may be things that you disagree with or you would prefer to be different. But it doesn't mean that the moment is off or wrong.
Mm,
It's perfect as it is.
yes.
And then you apply your desires, wants, preferences. And of course it doesn't fit because the universe doesn't give a rat's ass about your preference.
I've discovered that.
Yeah, me too.
Mm.
That's very cool.
Yeah. But really it's about, I remember when I first bumped into the moment, and I was shocked that I wasn't that story of my life that I had told myself over the years. And that was 50, 50? Yeah, 50, about 50 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. And then, but what I noticed was what kept it alive in me was sharing it with other people. Even though they resisted it, they resisted it. I got louder and louder. I was terrible. But what I did do is I held on to the experience of transformation and the expression of it.
Yeah, I recently invited someone who lives literally across the world to attend one of your Living Made Easy Zoom seminars, which is the beauty. One of the silver linings of COVID is that we can do Zoom and people on the other side of the planet can attend. And I wasn't even able to attend that night. I wanted to, which was morning for him. But I heard about his experience and how much people enjoyed him and how much he enjoyed attending. And just hearing about it was so enlivening and inspiring for me to piggyback on what you were saying about sharing it.
Yes. Well, look, you're good at sharing it, but you get lost and forget to from time to time. That's all.
I do. I do.
You get lost in your life, and then other things supersede. And that's what drives you deeper and deeper into the drama of life rather than life supporting what you're up to.
Well, when you're upset long enough, it becomes normal. But when you are living a lifestyle where you're here and present and alive, that becomes normal also.
Because no two things can occupy you at the same time. So you can either be engaged in your life or you can be engaged in the thoughts that are a complaint about your life.
So when your friend came,
oh, he was so beautiful.
He was really just a beautiful man. A shout out to you, Ed, in New Zealand. You rock.
Yeah, you rock, babe.
But shout out to how he found out about us, where he came, and he was talking about you, Dave, and he was talking about how you were so cheerful or upbeat, and how he's always left with feeling good about himself and wanting to work, with you more.
He didn't say this. I will, because you listen fully to him rather than try to convince him of your point of view.
True.
But what was interesting about it is first of all, I had the thought when he was saying that, I bet if Dave were here, he's forgotten that about himself. Like that's something he doesn't think about, because from time to time he's prey to those internal conversations that we're all prey to. But what was interesting is there were a lot of people on that Zoom seminar who have seen you recently, who know you regularly, who went to Costa Rica with you, and who admire you, but see you as normal. This is normal. You've become normal. They've become normal. They forgot that their way of relating into the world is not the norm.
It's not about change. It's not about becoming. It's about being.
So as he said that, I felt like people saw you anew and they saw themselves anew. Like, oh, yes, we do make a difference. And
right.
So I found how Ed expressed himself made this huge difference for everybody, but also because they got to see themselves through someone else's eyes.
That's awesome.
So thanks for inviting him.
Yeah.
You're welcome. It's so easy to, think in my thoughts, and which I've done in the past. Oh, I should tell this person about transformation and about the seminars because they'd really enjoy it, and then dismiss it and say, oh, maybe they'll think I'm weird, or maybe they'll, say no or reject me. And it's moments like this that make me realize, that allow me to push past my considerations and invite them, because I see what a difference it makes.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing.
Well, sometimes people come and it isn't for them, but I generally, what I've seen is people in general are like, hey, thanks for inviting me. I can't wait to come back. Or thanks for inviting me. I'm doing something else that I enjoy more. Or, it's for them or it's not. But there's a quality of feeling seen and appreciated just in the invitation itself.
Yes. Yes.
Well, I'm all behind you on whatever you're up to these days, Dave. It's exciting times.
Yes, and I'm feeling inspired by you.
Mm-hmm.
That was
likewise.
That was a pun on the name of the.
A pun or it's a reference to
the title of this podcast.
Yeah.
Can I have that juice?
You could.
I could use a drink.
Yeah. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
So very much. Thank you so very much.
It's that time.
The time for what?
Our listener feedback spotlight.
What is that?
Well, I'm so proud of the people who listen to this show. And now we get to hear from one or more of them about what's happening in their lives with transformation by listening to this podcast and
what they've discovered about life, what they've discovered about their lives, that they are experiencing fun in their lives.
And that they want to share it with you.
Yeah.
This is Adam in New York City, and I love coming to the Canes seminars because I find how to be relaxed. It's like a spa day for the mind.
Do you want to have well-being with consistency? Connect with people all over the world from the comfort of your own home at Ariel and Shire's lively interactive Living Made Easy virtual seminars. Join any of their 2-hour online events or take a deep dive into the magic of being you at a virtual weekend seminar. Come on, let's connect. Find out more and register at transformationmadeeasy.com.
We have a Living Made Easy seminar.
I know we do, but
What?
I want to talk about something.
Tell me.
About 42, maybe 43 years ago,
Wow.
I was working for a company that delivered seminars. It was a Be Here Now seminar. That was the name of it. And it was the third session of a 10-session series. And the first 2 seminar leaders got killed off by
Not literally, just discouraged by the participation,
by the participation
or lack of participation
of this group of 200 or so people. And I was told I was going to be leading this seminar that Wednesday night or whatever. And I went there, but I had the statistics of what happened. And so there was this section of the evening called announcements. And that section, you talked about the upcoming events that people could participate in. So this is like that when you really talk about things. And I said to and they'd all been trained to clap for announcements.
It was like somebody held up a sign at a sitcom. Applause.
Right. So everybody started clapping. And I told them, shut up.
Oh, shut up.
I heard about you guys. You clap about, announcements, but then you don't participate. So you're full of shit. So I told this group of 200 and plus people that they were full of shit. Ariel happened to be in that group.
I have to tell you, I was clapping along with the rest of them and I stopped mid-clap. I was like, who does this guy think he is? But then I was like, who is this guy by the end? It was really, really true. I got up and bought 10 tickets to something.
Yeah. Announcements or our upcoming events are opportunities to discover your life. to discover how life is transformative if you're here for it. And we're providing opportunities. See, the normal state of affairs, you do not have the opportunity to have your life transform in every normal, everyday moment. However, we've created artificial environments in which you can discover your magnificence, your brilliance, transform your ability to experience living. That's what we've created. And so these announcements that we make are opportunities to have your life transform. And I'm not saying that your life has to be bad to have it transform, but you get lost in your thoughts and you're not really in your experience of the moment of your life. You're lost in yesterday or next week or next year. I mean, I bet you somebody who's planning your are planning your vacation for next year. You see, you're just not here in your life in this moment. So what we do with these announcements or upcoming events are opportunities for you to discover your greatness, your brilliance, and your life.
And an opportunity to come express yourself, even if it's just to say hello when you tune in.
So
we have Living Made Easy seminar this Saturday, the April 13th. We do not have a Monday evening because we're already traveling to Europe for the Freedom to Breathe and Simplicity courses. We're really, really excited to be seeing people there.
And then on the 15th of April, we're going to be having a Living Made Easy evening in Hamburg.
No. The 22nd, it says, note, there is no Living Made Easy because we're in Hamburg.
Oh, I see.
It was just a little confusing.
So it's on the 22nd that we will be
so there are no virtual Mondays for 2 Mondays coming up.
Yeah, the 15th or the 22nd. Right.
Magical Relationships is our next virtual weekend. That's in June 8th and 9th. And you can get all the information on our website and through our newsletter if you'd like to sign up for it. transformationmadeeasy.com.
I want to talk about magical relationships for a second, too.
Please do.
See, I've got enthusiastic about things lately. I saw Judge Judy.
Yeah.
Yesterday, we watched Judge Judy for a little while. Judge Judy is pretty good in that, you don't really have to listen too much. It's not like you have to follow a theme and you can
try and figure out who did it. And whatever.
So dinner is usually over Judge Judy. And in any event, Judge Judy was talking to this girl who was having a fight with her mother over her boyfriend. And Judge Judy said, "You see your boyfriend over there?" And she said, "Yes." She said, "In 10 years, you may not even remember what he looks like. Because in this country, 50% of the marriages, the relationships that make it to marriage, where there's a commitment for life, end up in divorce. So all those other ones."
But your mother will always be your mother.
That's right. But the point is that relationship for most people, now Ariel and I have been in a relationship for 42 years. So that's pretty cool. And we still are passionate together. That was a euphemism. In any event, the Magical Relationships is an awesome weekend, but I wouldn't put off what we're doing between now and then. So anything that we're doing, you should get your butt into.
I love it. Let's speak about
that's my profundity, my profanity for today.
And speaking of getting one's butt into something, let's get Jen's behind into
Costa
the podcast.
And Costa Rica's 2025 is open.
May 1st, ladies and gents, is the early registration discount deadline. So if you're coming, register.
If you want to bargain.
Yes. Hey, Jen.
Hi, Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in Kansas City. It's really good to be here with you guys today.
Awesome.
Yes, it is.
Thank you so much. I just feel inspired. I haven't felt very inspired the last couple of days, or not even couple of days, the last few weeks. And I just, being here today, I feel you were talking about sharing transformation, and you were talking about how transformation, I've been doing the transformation since like 2012, and friends with you guys and coming to seminars and those kind of things. And, when I get uninspired or I become sluggish in my life, I can see how I fall back into kind of like old habits, or, I just plod along instead of like really engage. So thank you for the opportunity.
If you look, Jen, you stop sharing transformation and you go back to the way things were. Transformation is something that you create. It's up to you, you see. It's not something that you can't do being transformed. But as you engage in talking about it, you connect back to the magnificence of who you were in those moments when you were really in the current moment of your life. And it wasn't that something artificially got you there. You just happened to fall into the moment rather than the future and the past where the world lives. See, you live in a country and a time where everybody's thinking about the future or complaining about it, or the past or complaining about it. Very few people are engaged in this moment of their life. And when you get engaged in this moment, enthusiasm is a natural outcoming. That's the natural place you're going to end up is enthusiastic when you get here. Because life isn't certain.
I can see that.
So are you, by the way.
I missed that last part. Can you repeat that?
Life is inspiring, and so are you, by the way.
So of course you missed that last part.
Yeah, my listening. Yes.
What?
Yes. Well, I have a brag to share, and so about 3 weeks ago, I had a sales meeting with my entire company. I work as a sales professional. I sell industrial generators. And so we had a national sales meeting, and I was presented an award at the meeting during the award ceremony as top sales producer for 2023.
Congratulations.
Wow. Yeah. So
I have one of your generators.
Do you? That's awesome.
It's hooked up to my house if the power goes out.
Yeah. So
yes.
Well, not the industrial ones, but it's the same company, yes?
Jen.
Thank you. So I felt really good about it, but I know you guys have said this in the past. You said something to the effect of you can't get enough of what you don't want, or even positive, or things that you view as a positive event, like me winning this award. It is an upset. And I've found myself being upset because it's funny. Being the top producer is a great accomplishment, and at the same time, then there's some other things that have happened in my job. Where there's some changes that are taking place and stuff going on that I feel like I'm so focused on those other things and not really, this one little thing about being the top salesperson is like, it's no big deal. And, I'm so upset about this other stuff. So
let me ask you about this upset about the other stuff.
Okay.
Because you see, I don't think you're upset about the other stuff.
Oh.
I think the other stuff allows you to be upset when you're already upset.
Okay.
It gives you a reasonable reason to be upset because that's upsetting. Everybody will agree with you that that's upsetting. But my experience is that when you're upset, anything and everything is upsetting. And when you're not upset, things just roll off like water off a duck's back.
Yes, accurate. That's true.
So but here's the thing. No two things can occupy you at the same time. So if you're lost in resisting something, then that dominates your life. If you're engaged in the current moment of your life, then that's what occupies your life. See, most upset is based in past happenings. Something happened, you disagreed with it, it had some impact or threat to your survival in your job, some sort of threat to your survival in a relationship, and that's where the upset lives.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to planet Earth. But you see, then there is transformation. And transformation really does allow you to step outside of those things that you normally disturb yourself with, because no two things can occupy you at the same time. And if you're engaged in your life, you're not lost in your upsets and resisting them. And what you resist persists, grows stronger, and you say it dominates your life. And it does.
Yeah. Got it. Yeah.
Man, I'm windy today, huh?
I like it.
I'm not talking windy, I'm talking windy.
Yeah.
Windy, who's zipping down the streets of the city. Oh, no, that's Wendy. Windy.
Long-winded.
I like it. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Hey, congratulations, Jen.
Oh, yeah, congratulations on that. But here's the thing, that's never going to be enough.
You know, I love that you come pretty close to getting that accolade, because most of us think, well, when I get to be the top earner, for instance, then I'll be satisfied. Or when I get that relationship, then I'll be satisfied. Or when I lose that weight, then I'll be satisfied.
Or when I get that divorce, then I'll be satisfied.
But satisfaction is not circumstantially derived. And it's wonderful that you can share in real time
That you won this wonderful award, and the next day it really doesn't matter.
you're still living on to the next. Yeah.
Because what I was going to say is I feel like I got upset. Well, not upset, but I was disappointed that, then the next day it was like, what's it called? Business as usual. It's like it didn't mean anything. So
Yeah, it's same old.
right. It's like I wanted to hold on to that moment, and just be there for a while, but you really can't, right? Because every moment just.
You really can. And here's the thing, those momentary wins do not support your well-being. They become upsetting events because there's loss involved in them. Time moves on, it's no longer relevant, and here you are back where you started from.
Yeah.
But if you discover how to be in your life non-preferentially, where it's not like when I go on vacation, I'll be happy. When I get to go to Maui, then I'll be happy. It's this bedpan that I'm changing. I'm happy doing it.
Got it. Love it.
It doesn't matter the circumstance. It matters your attentiveness to doing where you are and choosing it as though it's your idea, not complaining that you have to.
Yes,
and
thank you.
I find myself with that every day, washing dishes.
Okay.
Or sweeping the floor.
I like that. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks so much for being with us today.
Yeah.
Really a treat.
The thing that you don't realize, Jen, is that you are a gift.
Yeah, so, that's hard to hear. It can get hard. It can be hard to hear.
Sorry for upsetting you again.
Well, one last thing about that. Anybody who's listened to our Being Here podcast, Jen is one of the producers in the background. She's one of the people who helps record the shows, who helps edit the shows, because it's recorded in a couple of different segments, and then we have the listener spotlights in the middle, and she uploads them. And you may not realize that is one of the things she does, because she's inspired to do that. And Jen, I know you turned off your video because you thought this was the end of the show. But I got to tell you that you've gotten very comfortable expressing yourself behind the scenes. And there's another possibility now that won't take effort, and that is to allow yourself to express yourself in front of the scenes, or to have the spotlight on you with more consistency.
Wow. Thank you. I turned my camera back on. So, but thank you. Thank you. Wow. That's an inspiring possibility.
Well done, Jen. Well done.
Getting ready to close out the show. Shout out to all the people who've worked in the background to produce this show. And we really appreciate you. We couldn't do it without you. So if you want to share this podcast with your friends, please do. You can subscribe, so it comes to you each week on your favorite podcast app. You can subscribe, and you can also subscribe to our newsletter. We have great videos and articles, and you can find all our courses and register for anything you'd like to attend with us at transformationmadeeasy.com. Next week's podcast, Lost and Found, just in case, sometimes you lose yourself and then you find yourself. Lost and Found. We'll be back next week.
So come on back.
Don't miss
being here.